In moments of pressure, the world reveals its true hierarchy. Most people imagine strength as loudness, aggression, frantic movement, or grand gestures meant to prove something. But true control, the kind that bends situations and people, is born from composure. Composure is not passivity, and it is not softness. It is a strategic stillness, a calculated silence that allows you to see what others cannot. When pressure rises, the average person's instincts betray them. Their breathing shortens, their emotions surge, and their decisions turn sloppy. Their reactions become predictable, and predictable individuals are easy to manipulate, easy to corner, easy to defeat. The one who seeks to master pressure must understand this. Whoever controls themselves controls the moment, and whoever controls the moment controls the outcome. To cultivate this level of composure, you must first train yourself to detach from the illusions created by pressure. Pressure distorts reality. It magnifies threats, minimizes opportunities, and makes small problems appear catastrophic. But these distortions don't come from the situation. They come from within people who cannot regulate their internal world. When you remain composed, you pierce through that fog and see situations as they are, not as fear paints them. This is why composure is the first mark of someone who holds true power. It is the calm in your eyes while others tremble that signals you understand something they don't. Chaos is not your enemy. Your uncontrolled reactions are. Composure also gives you the advantage of time. When others rush, you observe. When they scramble, you calculate. When they speak impulsively, you listen. Pressure pushes most people into haste because they confuse movement with progress. They feel that doing anything is better than doing nothing. But a composed mind knows that premature action is often irreversible, and once made, it can rarely be undone without cost. Composure gives you the patience to wait until the exact moment when your action will have maximum impact. This patience is not passive, it is predatory. It allows you to strike cleanly, decisively, and effectively, while others exhaust themselves with meaningless effort. The psychology of pressure reveals that people instinctively look toward anyone who appears unshaken. In situations of stress, the human mind seeks anchors, figures who display certainty when certainty is scarce. If you can become that anchor, power naturally gravitates toward you. People defer to the composed because they assume you know something they don't, even if you don't reveal it. They feel safer following you than following their own spiraling thoughts. This creates influence without effort, leadership without asking, dominance without force. Your composure becomes a currency, and in moments of crisis, it becomes the most valuable one in the room. But composure requires discipline. For it to become part of you, you must train your mind to resist the instinctive impulses that pressure tries to trigger. This training begins long before the crisis. It begins with controlling your breathing when stress rises, controlling your voice when anger tempts you, controlling your posture when fear whispers for you to shrink, controlling your thoughts when doubt begins to echo louder than logic. Each of these moments is an opportunity to strengthen the internal foundation that pressure will someday test. Composure is not merely a response. It is a habit forged through repeated and true composure also demands that you master emotional separation. If you allow yourself to take things personally under pressure, you will always be reactive rather than strategic. Emotion clouds judgment by convincing you that the moment is about your worth, your pride, your identity. But pressure is never personal. It is simply situational. When you can separate your ego from the moment, you free yourself to act with clarity. This emotional detachment allows you to see opportunities others miss because they are too busy feeling rather than thinking. You move like someone who has already accepted the consequences of their actions and is therefore unburdened by fear of them. Another advantage of composure is the power it gives you over perception. In high-pressure moments, people don't analyze, they assume. If you appear steady, they assume competence. If you appear confident, they assume capability. If you appear unbothered, they assume you have control. These assumptions work in your favor and shape the behavior of those around you. Your stillness becomes a mirror that reflects instability in others, making them doubt themselves while reinforcing your position. Pressure amplifies perception, and composure allows you to shape that perception to your advantage without ever speaking a word. To become someone who remains composed under intense pressure, you must practice silence as a form of power. The more pressure tries to force you to speak, the more you should delay. Words spoken in haste are weapons handed to others. Thoughts shared impulsively are weaknesses exposed. Silence invites others to reveal themselves while forcing them to guess your intentions. In pressure-filled situations, people fear what they cannot read. Your silence becomes a strategic weapon, not to conceal weakness, but to conceal advantage. Composure is not about pretending to be calm. It is about becoming someone who is not moved by the same forces that move others. It is the discipline to control your inner world so thoroughly that external chaos cannot penetrate it. It is the ability to stand firm while others scatter, to think clearly while others drown in emotion, to remain deliberate while others are lost in their impulses. This is what makes your presence powerful under pressure. This is what makes your decisions sharp when others falter. This is what begins the transformation from ordinary individual into someone who commands the moment rather than being consumed by it. Power under pressure rarely belongs to the strongest body or the loudest voice. It belongs to the one who understands the subtle mechanics of perception. Fear is not created through brutality or physical dominance. Fear is born when others sense that you cannot be easily predicted, influenced, or broken. This is why force is a crude tool. It exhausts you, exposes you, and requires constant reinforcement. Fear, on the other hand, sustains itself. It spreads quietly, travels faster than any announcement, and grows in the minds of others without requiring your direct effort. When pressure mounts, people do not fear those who shout or threaten. They fear the one who stands still, calculating, unreadable, untouched by the storm that rattles everyone else. To leverage fear effectively, you must first understand its nature. Fear is not always terror. Often it is doubt, uncertainty, or caution. People are unsettled by what they cannot understand. They hesitate when they cannot predict your next move. They second-guess themselves when they cannot interpret your expression, your silence, or your intention. Under pressure, these small cracks in their confidence widen until they can no longer act with clarity. This gives you an advantage without ever lifting a hand. When you master this, you master the room. Leaning on fear does not mean acting hostile. Hostility is transparent and therefore weak. Fear thrives on mystery. When people cannot classify you as friend or foe, when they cannot determine the limits of your patience or the depth of your capabilities, they naturally tread carefully around you. They choose their words with precision. They avoid unnecessary conflict. They give more than they take. They yield ground because they are uncertain of what might happen if they do not. This is the power of leveraged fear. It makes others discipline themselves on your behalf. To wield this power, your demeanor must be intentional. Your presence should convey calm intensity, a kind of controlled tension that suggests you see more than you reveal. When someone attempts to provoke you under pressure, do not react immediately. Delay is powerful. A pause reveals nothing, yet demands everything. It forces the other person to fill the silence with their own insecurities. They begin to imagine your possible reactions, and imagination is always more intimidating than reality. A delayed response suggests calculation. It suggests you are measuring them, assessing them, deciding their fate while they wait helplessly. This creates fear without a single threat spoken. Your posture, your tone, your eye contact, they all play a role. A person who uses force tends to overexert themselves. Their gestures are aggressive, their voice strained, their movements exaggerated. But a person who leverages fear understands that subtlety is more potent than spectacle. When pressure rises and everyone else becomes frantic, your steadiness becomes a signal of power. People begin to wonder, what does this person know that the rest of us don't? Why are they not panicking? What are they planning? This uncertainty becomes the seed of fear, and once planted, it grows rapidly. To strengthen this effect, you must maintain an aura of unpredictability, not chaos, but controlled unpredictability. Predictable individuals are easy to counter because their reactions can be anticipated. Unpredictable individuals command respect because no one knows what boundaries they might enforce or what consequences they might deliver. This does not mean acting irrationally. It means being selective. Sometimes you respond, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you let small things pass. Other times you strike decisively on matters others expected you to ignore. This forces people to examine every move they make around you. The moment someone has to think twice before crossing you, fear has already done its work. In high-pressure environments, the perception of strength often matters more than actual strength. People rarely challenge someone they believe possesses hidden depth or undisclosed capability. When you speak, do so with purpose. When you act, do so with intention. When you refuse to reveal your full hand, others begin to overestimate what you are capable of. This overestimation becomes more effective than any overt demonstration of force. They will imagine consequences far harsher than anything you could have articulated. Fear thrives on imagination. Force kills imagination by showing its limits. To leverage fear without becoming reckless, you must maintain emotional neutrality. Emotional individuals reveal too much. They expose their thoughts, their triggers, and their weaknesses. They show how pressure affects them. But someone who remains emotionally composed becomes difficult to assess. Others cannot tell whether you are offended, amused, or plotting. This uncertainty compels them to treat you with caution. In their attempt to avoid triggering you, they often weaken their own position. They give more room, more respect, more compliance, sometimes without ever realizing it. Fear also grows from the perception that you are capable of decisive action, not constant action, not loud action, but surgical action. When you finally choose to enforce a boundary, do so with clarity and finality. Do not negotiate after the decision is made. Do not waver. Do not oversell it. The consistency of your resolve becomes a quiet warning that you are not someone who makes empty threats or sets hollow limits. People begin to remember the moments you acted with precision, and those memories become tools you no longer have to use. They do the work for you. In moments of pressure, most individuals seek safety in numbers. They rely on group opinion, collective fear, shared confusion. But if you remain detached from that collective panic, you become the figure everyone notices. Pressure amplifies your presence. It magnifies the effect of your silence, your stare, your slight shift in tone. Use this amplification to shape perception. Use it to let others know, without saying it, that you do not bend easily, that your boundaries are not suggestions, and that your calmness is not weakness, but the patience of someone who chooses the moment of engagement with care. Leveraging fear is not cruelty, it is mastery of perception. It is understanding that people respond more strongly to what they imagine than to what they see. When you command their imagination, you command their behavior. And once you understand this, you no longer need force to influence the world around you. Crisis is the battlefield where true character is revealed, and pressure is the weapon that separates those who rise from those who collapse. Most people experience crisis as a force that pushes them backward, strips them of choice, and reduces them into victims of circumstance. But those who understand power know that crisis is not merely something to survive, it is something to exploit. Every moment of instability creates openings that do not exist when everything is calm, organized, and predictable. When the world becomes uncertain, people lose their balance, and it is in that moment of imbalance that new territory becomes available for the taking. To turn crisis into territory, you must first change your relationship with adversity. The average person sees crisis as a threat. You must see it as terrain. New, unclaimed, shifting terrain that gives you the chance to move in ways you could not before. Crisis removes the usual rules and expectations. It disrupts routines, breaks hierarchies, exposes incompetence, and reveals gaps in leadership. While others are overwhelmed by the disruption, you must be the one who recognizes the rare privilege hidden inside it. Crisis is the only time when the world temporarily forgets who is supposed to be in charge. It is the only time when someone new can step forward and claim authority without resistance. Pressure turns people inward. They become consumed with their own fears, their own losses, their own confusion. This inward collapse leaves space around them, space that the strategic mind can fill. When someone panics, they retreat from responsibility, from decision-making, from asserting themselves. They speak less confidently, they choose safety over initiative, and they surrender opportunities by simply not noticing them. If you remain alert while others withdraw, you naturally rise above them. You become the one making suggestions while they remain silent, the one offering direction when they hesitate, the one taking steps forward while they stand still. This is how crisis becomes territory. You do not have to push others aside. They step aside on their own because pressure has overwhelmed them. To take advantage of crisis, you must stay outside the emotional fog that engulfs everyone else. Emotional chaos blinds people. They cannot see beyond the immediate moment. Their thoughts become reactive, their decisions rushed, their judgment skewed. You must view the crisis from above, like someone studying the battlefield rather than fighting blindly inside it. When you are able to detach emotionally, patterns reveal themselves. Weak links become obvious. Delays in others' responses create openings that were not there before. People's need for direction becomes stronger. Their willingness to follow becomes higher. Their resistance diminishes. Crisis softens them, and you must recognize when that softness becomes your advantage. Territory during crisis can take many forms. Sometimes it is literal: roles, responsibilities, influence in a group, control over a project, authority in a situation. Other times it is psychological: respect gained, reputation shifted, trust earned, or the silent acknowledgement that you are the one who stayed strong when others fell apart. People remember those who hold steady during chaos. They remember who carried them, who guided them, who did not crumble. These memories turn into loyalty, and loyalty is the most valuable territory of all. Crisis also uncovers truths that remain hidden in times of comfort. When everything is going well, people are on their best behavior. They hide their weaknesses, mask their insecurities, pretend to be more capable than they are. But pressure strips people of their disguises. It reveals who hesitates, who freezes, who abandons responsibility, who becomes emotional, who miscalculates. It reveals the internal structure of people's minds. For someone seeking to rise, this information is power. Crisis gives you a map of who can be trusted, who can be manipulated, who must be avoided, and who will break under pressure. Knowing this allows you to position yourself strategically. To turn crisis into territory, you must also be willing to move while others wait. The average person waits for the crisis to pass before acting. They cling to the belief that stability will return and that decisions should be delayed until everything makes sense again. But by the time stability returns, it is already too late. The opportunities existed only in the chaos. The territory was available only because pressure disrupted the natural order. When the crisis ends, people regain confidence, reclaim their positions, reassert control. The window closes. You must be someone who acts inside the storm, not after it. This does not mean acting recklessly. It means recognizing the specific moments when people's guard is down and their attention is fragmented. During crisis, most individuals focus only on what they fear losing. Your focus must be on what can be gained. Their minds contract. Your mind must expand. They cling to what they have. You must reach for what is not yet claimed. While they worry about returning to normal, you should be building a new normal where you hold more control than before. Crisis itself is a form of pressure, but pressure can be redirected. When others are overwhelmed, you can use their loss of composure to rise. People will naturally look for someone who seems certain, someone who appears to understand the moment. If you speak with clarity while others speak in confusion, you gain authority. If you volunteer solutions while others only identify problems, you gain influence. If you maintain direction while others lose it, you take command. Territory is not always seized through conflict. Often it is claimed simply by being the only one still standing straight, while others bend under the weight of stress. Territory can also be gained by absorbing responsibilities others abandon. Crisis makes people retreat from difficult tasks because they fear making mistakes. They fear being blamed. They fear consequences. But if you are willing to take on what they avoid, you gain leverage. The one who carries the burden during crisis becomes indispensable afterward. People rely on you because you proved yourself when it mattered most. Turning crisis into territory requires a shift in identity. You must become someone who looks at instability the way others look at opportunity. You must become someone who steps forward precisely when everyone else is stepping back. This mindset transforms you into a force that thrives not despite crisis, but because of it. Pressure is the ultimate judge of character, and in its grip, most people reveal their fragility. But you have learned how to move differently, how to harness composure as your foundation, how to shape perception through controlled fear, and how to turn crisis into territory rather than surrender to it. These principles transform pressure from an enemy into an ally, from something that crushes the many into something that elevates the few. When you master yourself, others cannot dictate your fate. When you master perception, others cannot predict your power. And when you master crisis, others cannot keep you from rising in moments they themselves run from. The world does not reward those who simply survive pressure. It rewards those who reshape it, redirect it, and use it to carve out dominance in places where others saw only danger.